Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm not.
All right, so we've been on a Speak for Yourself run the past couple weeks on the podcast. We had Big Bro Marcellus Wiley on, we had LeVar Arrington, and now we have the new co-host of Speak for Yourself, Emmanuel Acho.
Yeah.
New to the FS1 family. Thanks so much for joining us in the podcast.
Of course. I'm the new kid on the block. And I guess that comes with its perks, but I haven't been hazed so far, so it's all good.
How has well, you actually aren't even through a full week yet of Speak, I guess, but how has your first week at Speak gone?
It's been amazing. Being at Fox has been amazing. Like, people don't realize it's the little things. Like you walking on campus, or not even campus, I guess the Fox lot. Y'all are fancy here. Where I've come from, it was campus. Walking on the Fox lot, it's dope. Like, you walk in and your wardrobe's already there for you. Food, to a degree, is already there waiting for you. Your producers, one call away, they'll come meet you, dressing room or at the stairs, and just chop it up and talk about the show. It's been cool because it allows me to solely focus on performing and being an entertainer. I don't have to worry about all the other stuff. And then the people are fantastic. I love being able to go from one show to another. It's like a team. It's as close to being on the football field when it comes to being with a team that I've experienced.
Yeah, I don't know how it was for you. I mean, you're like pretty big time, but for me, when I first came to Fox to audition, I didn't realize it was on the Fox movie lot, and I hadn't spent a lot of time in LA. So I got like to the hotel and was like getting ready to come for the audition. Like, we're pulling onto the lot, and I was like, this is the Fox studio lot. Like, this is crazy. But it does make me appreciate work so much, because it is like, it's kind of, overwhelming to drive onto the lot every day.
I mean, think about this. You mentioned audition. June 10th, 2016. I just left the NFL. I was trying to get into TV. I didn't know what the heck I was going to do. And my agent at the time was like, hey, you can audition for a show that's about to launch called Speak for Yourself. So I'm thinking to myself, oh, heck yeah. You know what I'm saying? Everything I do, it usually works out. I'll go audition. Surely I'll get the job. June 10th, 2016. I walk onto the lot. I auditioned with the co-host at the time, and I thought it went great. I'm expecting Fox to give me a call. Yes, we'd love to have you. Crickets. And so I didn't get the job June 10th, 2016, because, amongst other things, I just wasn't ready. Well, now, June 10th, 2020, I get the call from the Fox executives, hey, Emmanuel, we'd love to have you as our next co-host of Speak for Yourself. So whenever somebody mentions the word audition, it literally is one of the most mind-blowing experiences for me, because 4 years to the day of June 10th, from 2016 to 2020, I go from not being good enough to now getting my dream job in LA, hosting the show. Just it's been a wild journey.
That's crazy. That's an amazing story, and a testament to like waiting for the right moment, putting in your dues and the process of it. It's also my younger sister's birthday, June 10th.
Great things happen on June 10th.
That's a great date. So yesterday we got some pretty crazy news. I think I yelped a little bit. Like, I looked at my phone and saw that it was like, Cam Newton.
Is that what a yelp sounds like?
I mean, I don't know. Like, imagine like a yelp is like if you like accidentally step on like a dog's paw or something, and they're like.
See, I didn't think a yelp was audible. I thought a yelp was kind of like, I didn't know like it was like a high pitch, high tone. But you're the Yelp expert. So
I imagine a Yelp has somewhat of a sound. I screeched a little bit when I saw that Cam Newton was going to the Patriots, because you don't know this, but I am a big Cam Newton fan and supporter. And I have a lot of theories about why people don't like Cam Newton, but I knew he would be a starter again in this league. I didn't really think it would happen this soon, and I certainly didn't think that it was going to be the Patriots. But what was your reaction when you saw that news, other than yelping, of course?
Yo, Cam is my favorite player. He has been since like 2015. I don't know when you're in the NFL if you're allowed to have favorite players, but Cam Newton and Cam Chancellor were my favorite players. Cam and Cam. Cam Chancellor has since retired. So it's now up to Cam Newton to hold the throne by himself. I was hyped for several reasons. Number one, great fit. Great fit because the Patriots are missing one piece. Their defense, stout. Offensive line, because of injuries, yes, it had some issues. But running backs, I like. At receiver, yes, do they need some help? Sure. But I do think they'll be healthier this year at receiver, so that will help. I love Cam Newton to New England because everybody thinks, well, will it work? Cam Newton, he's eccentric, he's loud, he's stylish and flashy. That's not the Belichick way. Bump all that. The Belichick way is winning games. The Belichick way is dominating the AFC East. That is the Belichick way. And so I think it will work. I'm excited to see it work. And I think the Patriots, once again, took claim of the AFC East, and I think they put themselves in the top 3 of the AFC.
So my theory about why people don't like Cam Newton is because Cam Newton, well, look, like if your criticisms of Cam Newton are, he's injury prone, like, okay, I can rock with you there. Like, he's had a pretty bad string of injuries lately. That he's not a good player, like I can't get down with that. Like, when he's healthy, he's a great player. So like you're just paying attention. It's recency bias with that. I think swag makes people uncomfortable, particularly people who are swagless. And Cam Newton is on the high end of the spectrum of swag. You wore a scarf on the show today. Yeah. And I mean, it probably made people who didn't know what was going on uncomfortable. But I do think that, I think that his style, his, the way he plays, his Superman, like all that can kind of make people uncomfortable, especially at the quarterback position. Now, I do think since he's been at the height of his playing ability, because he's been injured the past couple of years, a lot has changed. You got Mahomes, you got Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson is at the top of his game. Like, there's a lot more swag around the league these days. What do you think about that? Because I feel like that's a big part of it.
I think you're 100% right. And I think you were tiptoeing around the adjectives that you want to use. But I'm a tiptoe with you since that's what we're doing. And going into work today, I Googled Gardner Minshew outfits because everybody loves and adores Gardner Minshew for wearing his adorable outfits and his handlebar mustache. I love Gardner Minshew's game since he was at Wazoo, Washington State. I covered him in college as the college football analyst. Gardner Minshew is tacky. He's tacky as heck. He is as tacky as they come. But, Joy, if you Google Gardner Minshew outfits, the first thing that comes up, in quotes, Gardner Minshew rocks old man swag. So when Gardner Minshew does it, tacky as ever, shirt buttoned to here, chest hairs all out, look like he's a 1970 jazz swinger artist. When he does it, it's cute and adorable. But when Cam comes out here in his $5,000 suits and his $3,000 scarves, it's a problem. It's a distraction. I personally just don't understand it. My first day on Speak for Yourself, I had to wear, we had to do photo shoots, headshots. I take my cute little headshot. I'm feeling myself in my suit. And what people know about me, I like my suits painted on, like straight up and down. I like them like as tight as can be. I show my little ankle cleavage, etc. I post my picture on my Instagram, and this woman comments, your pants are too tight. They make you look like a midget because of how short they are. I look at her. It's like Orange County stylist with like 500 followers. I'm like, because what is appealing to you is not appealing to me, you think that is not stylish. But you do not get to define what is stylish because it does not make you comfortable. In the same manner, I think that's how it is for Cam. The majority of those who write about Cam, the majority of those who speak about Cam don't understand Cam. And so all of a sudden, it's not stylish, or he is a nuisance, or he is too outspoken and too flamboyant, when the same Gardner Minshew, who does the exact same thing, is swaggy. Make it make sense.
That's all I ask for every day in any conversation, is to make it make sense. I say that a lot because I don't have a lot of time for stuff that doesn't make sense. And yes, we are tiptoeing around what we're really trying to say. And, what's understood doesn't need to be said. So those who understand what we're saying get it. And if you don't, just, maybe you'll catch up one day. But that is it's a perfect example of it. You're absolutely right. Which is why I think that New England overall cultural fit is kind of a little bit strange, but it's a temporary situation. I think it's going to be really fun to watch. The AFC East part is what upsets me because I grew up in Pittsburgh, so I have some loyalty to the Steelers, even though they're on my nerves lately. And I love the Dolphins, obviously. My brother played for the Dolphins for 13 years. I lived in Miami for 10 years. I love the Dolphins. And, I really felt like this year, in the AFC East, it was the Bills. It was the Bills' year. To me, the pressure's on the Bills this season still, but it's not the same circumstances anymore. But it was the Bills' year, and I was really looking forward to like a New England pressure-free season for the Dolphins, and it seems that dream is gone. So, and I like Cam Newton, so I have to find some way to balance like 3 AFC teams.
You're torn.
It's a nightmare. I don't know what I'm going to do. So the other news that came out with the Patriots yesterday, which got completely glossed over, which was very strategic. I see what you're doing, Bill. They got the punishment for cheating again. I don't really get crazy about the cheating thing. I can't fake outrage about anything. I'm a like heart on my sleeve, emotions on my sleeve person. I can't fake it. I'm just not a fake person. I just don't care. Like I know I'm supposed to care, but I just don't care. And it's mainly because this is what the Patriots do. So it's just going to be a part of their legacy to me that they're cheaters.
I feel you. I think the problem is it's a part of their legacy, right? To us who are in it right now in 2020 and who have seen it and, Deflategate and Spygate and all the gates. So they got more gates than the houses in Beverly Hills. Like, I swear. But I think when you go back in like 2040 and 2050, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, there aren't any asterisks by the Patriots wins. And I think that's the problem. Because if you're competing against the Patriots right now, it's like, yeah, they cheated, but they still got these trophies. And in history, they're still going to go down as the winners. That's why I have beef with dudes who like cheat, use whatever, and come back within the same season. Like Julian Edelman, if I'm not mistaken, I think like he got suspended for the first 4 games of the season, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and then either comes back and maybe he's Super Bowl MVP or something like, I don't think I'm making this up, but something along those lines. Or at least the Patriots had won the Super Bowl, went to the Super Bowl like they always do. And I'm just like, that's not fair to me. To me as an athlete, and I know I only played 4 years because I had other higher ambitions personally, but to me it's just not fair because you got players, organizations that will reap the rewards, but history, it's not like it's going to revoke anything they've won. Now, would the Patriots have still accomplished what they've accomplished over the last 2 decades? Sure, right? Like, I'm not going to sit here and act like the Patriots only won all their chips because they cheated. Tom Brady's only the – hell no. Like, they still would have been great. But to me, as a former athlete, I am a little like, dang, they did get a leg up.
So I hear you, and I don't know if I agree with the history part. Like, in a lot of ways, history sometimes doesn't look back on you so kindly. Like, things that we kind of maybe normalize to us, then 20 years from now, it might be way more serious, the cheating, and they're like, we'll look back on that legacy that the Patriots have and be like, yeah, like they did kind of do a lot of cheating. To me, I guess the reason why I don't get so angry about it is because I consider myself a realist, and which can sometimes be confused for a pessimist. But I just think everybody cheats, and like they cheat more, which is why they get caught more. Like, it's like, it's a numbers game.
So I disagree. But now here's what I adhere to a degree. The quote, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right? Like, that's a quote that runs rampant throughout sports. But I just don't know if I can get down with that, because now let's take it from the large-scale organizational structure and let's bring it on down to the player structure. There are guys within the NFL that take player-enhancing drugs,
right.
Performance-enhancing drugs. Excuse me, there are guys. But there are guys that don't. So, like, sure, do several players take performance-enhancing drugs? Absolutely. But then there are also players who are out there just trying to get it. Like, I can say, again, I only played 4 years, so who the heck am I to talk? But I can say I didn't never take nothing, like straight up and down. And then I look at players who I'm close with. I'm reminded, I want to say 2009, Defensive Player of the Year in the NFL, went to a linebacker, Brian Cushing, played for the Houston Texans. Cushing is a dog, absolute beast. The runner-up was my guy, played at the University of Texas, Brian Arakpo. It turns out Cushing was juicing. Meanwhile, Rack, who wasn't, doesn't get the award that Cushing got while Cushing was juicing. So I just personally, I can't get down with that, because I'm like, great, you got an award, a national award that will go down in history for you. Another guy should have got it. You were cheating like hell. but he never gets to reap the benefits of it. Because even if they were to redact the award and take it back from you, it's not like it's about to go to him. So personally, Joy, just like as a high-level competitor, and not even just sports, but like as a high-level competitor of anything, I just can't get down with the playing field if it's not level.
For me, it's more about what's the butterfly effect of it, right? Like, I'm not talking about legalizing steroids or anything, although I kind of feel like they should do that for baseball. But the problem is it trickles down, right? Like, if you do it in the pros, you're eventually going to have kids in college doing it because they're trying to make pro, and the standards have been raised so high, unrealistically high, because guys are using PEDs. And then eventually it's going to get down to high school, and you just can't have that. So I agree, but I just also feel like there's an entertainment, like it's at the end of the day, while it is high level competition, sports is also in the same breath entertainment. And
fair.
So there's like just a lot of gray area that you can get into there. So that being said, a lot is on the line of sports coming back. We're in the middle of a pandemic. You played. If you were playing right now, how comfortable Florida's going crazy. California cases are now rising. Would you feel comfortable coming back to play?
I would, but players are kind of, how do we say this? Como se dice, irresponsible. Let's be real. If you were a young athlete in your prime, you already risking so much by playing a game like football. I'm going to specifically talk about football, right? Like you're risking physical health as far as bones, ligaments, soft tissue injuries. You're risking cognitive health. I studied with a neuroscientist for 3 seasons. I literally had to stop studying with this neurologist because I was getting too worried. So you're already risking injuries and pains and aches that are tremendously scary. So as a player, remember, Joy, you kind of think you're invincible as it is anyway. So personally, I probably wouldn't care. It's not saying it's the wisest thing in the world. I'm not saying that's the most calculated decision in the world. But every time you step on the football field, you're running a risk. You're running a risk every time you go to make a tackle that hey, if you tackle this guy with your head down, you might not get up. And so every time you play the game, you're running a risk. I don't think I would care about COVID, particularly because let's be real. The hardest thing to digest about COVID, you can't see it. And I think that's the hardest thing. It's kind of like concussions. And think about that for a second, Joy. We just now in 2016 got to a point of caring about concussions because unlike a broken arm, a torn hamstrings, broken arms, you can see them recover. You can see them heal. Concussions, you can never see the progress of. So we're just kind of not a big deal. I think that's kind of how we're treating COVID. you can't see it. So we're still kind of does it really exist unless you're personally affected by it?
Yeah, and that's why I'm so concerned about the NBA coming back because at least, again, none of us know shit, right? We're not doctors, and the doctors change their minds about everything that's going on because they get new information all the time. Nobody knows anything. But I do know NBA players play in a cloth, okay? And you guys, football players, have helmets on and gloves and all kinds of equipment. And whether that matters or not, it just seems a little bit safer than just being face to face with another man that has a tiny piece of clothing on. So what's going on in the bubble to me is majorly concerning. I have a lot of apprehension about whether that's going to work or not.
I'm not as concerned about the actual players in game as I am about the players outside the game. In game for me, it's simple. I would just test all 12 to 15 dudes that are on the bench that might get onto the court, test said coaches, test the refs, keep it in an isolated, incubated arena, and say, go play. My issue is, last I checked, custodial, chef, cafeteria, last I heard, they can leave the bubble and come back. So I'm not as concerned about the 35, 40 players that are important personnel that are going to be there. And I'm really not concerned about in-game. I'm more concerned about those who can leave and those that come back. That's the only thing that's worrisome to me. In-game, very much so easier to control. Outside of that and all the extras, that's where you got them issues.
Yeah, it's concerning to me. So thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Before we let you go, though, you are, as I mentioned earlier, big time. big time, and you started something that's had a really big impact on a lot of people, really powerful impact on a lot of people, and it's Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. So I know you've answered this question a lot of times, but for those who don't know, where did it come from? I mean, obviously we know, everything that's happening sparked the inspiration from it, but what made you want to do it?
Yeah, so Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. It is a show I started 4 weeks ago today, actually. And it's now over 45 million collective views on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. It's been a whirlwind. It sparked, obviously, because of the tragic murder of George Floyd. And my heart was broken. Like, as a Black man in America, I was like, this is unacceptable. I don't know how to feel. I don't know what to feel. But I'm solution oriented, Joy. And so I said, I can't just sit here and weep. And I just can't sit here in sorrow. I grew up in an all-white high school. We wore uniform, all boys school. Like, don't know how I survived it, but I did. And so I'm fully familiar with white culture. But then I played at the University of Texas and I played in a league. And so I'm fully familiar in Black culture, on top of being a 6'2", 240-pound Black man. And so I said, man, how can I bridge this gap, this division between white people and Black people? And so much of it starts with communication. But the problem is, white and Black people, we truly speak two different languages because we speak two different cultures. And if you ever took a foreign language in middle school, high school, elementary school, you know one thing. In order to be fluent in that foreign language, you got to go study abroad. Well, by living in Dallas, Texas, an uppity, white area, and going to this affluent white school, I studied abroad. I studied amongst my white people, my white friends. And then by playing in the NFL and playing college at Texas, college ball, I studied abroad. And so what I can now do, and by the grace of God have been able to do, is take the pain and the hurt of my Black brothers and sisters, engulf it in grace, and deliver a message to my white brothers and sisters that they can understand. I say it like this. I take the seasoning off the food so my white friends can digest it. And it's been crazy. Like, Jennifer Aniston reached out to me. Reese Witherspoon reached out to me. Ben Stiller reached out to me. Like, so many people who I never thought I would have not only been in contact with, but like had conversations with. Dwayne Wade posted the video. Like, Jada Pinkett Smith, like people who I never thought I would share spaces with, I'm now sharing sentences with. And so it's been encouraging. It's been a blessing, and I'm just glad to be used.
Well, it is really powerful. I've seen all of them, and you have episode 4.
Because you like Matthew McConaughey, right? You're a big McConaughey fan?
I am a big McConaughey fan, but I also was interested in what you were talking about, and I have watched all of them, and you have... And I'm a McConaughey fan because I love True Detective season 1. Everybody knows that. Anyway, you have episode 4 coming out Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Can you give us a preview of what's going to go on in episode 4? Yeah.
So episode 4, I wanted to address 3 primary questions. So many people have been emailing me. So many people have been asking, and I hear what people are saying. I read literally every email comes across my desk. And the concepts of the broken Black family, right? Well, what about all these Black people that grow up in single parent homes? Isn't the absence of the Black father actually the biggest contributor to the lack of Black success? Or there's, the question of reverse racism. Well, Emmanuel, Black people have Black History Month. White people don't have White History Month. Isn't that reverse racism? Or kind of an all-time favorite, I feel like, an all-time ambiguous question. I got an email. I, as a white girl, I want to wear my hair braided, but I'm offending Black people. Like, when do I know if that's cultural appropriation or not? And so I said, wow, like, these are the questions from the people. That, amongst other things, is what I answer in the conversation I have in episode 4. And it actually, to me, it's the best episode yet.
Looking forward to that. I might actually have a few suggestions, just not questions, obviously, but just, like maybe one time you can get into why it's not okay to touch my hair. I'm just throwing it out
I
there.
could bring you on the show to discuss it.
We could do uncomfortable conversations with a Black woman. I'll happily explain why I don't want you touching me if I didn't ask you to touch me. Well, looking forward to Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man tomorrow. Congrats on all your success with that. It's very needed. It's very important. And I'll see you tomorrow on the lot. Congrats on Speak for Yourself. We look forward to seeing you and Marcellus together every day. Do a great job. So thank you for coming on, and welcome to the FS1 family.
Thank you. I'm going to see you.